and yeah, you can find a lot of plagiarism that way. It's actually kind of sad. So we're just gonna mess with this thing real quick. Can I select the edges? Is there like an edge blur only on this damn thing? I can blur the whole fucking thing, but I don't want to do that. I don't know, we blurred it a little bit. That's good enough, right? So we'll throw a giant moon texture in here. Get a nice cease and desist, yeah. Yeah, it's some of those sorts of things. It's just kind of a cover your ass thing. I always just take a look at stuff in a kind of a sanity check sort of thing. Is there a re-import here? Do you want to overwrite the existing asset? Yeah, let's overwrite it. You're about to import final mode. Would you like to overwrite the existing assets? Yes. I already told you yes. Alright, so this needs to be a default thing. Obviously, the changes to the moon were of such a magnitude that Unreal decided to crash the hell out. It's highly unlikely that anybody would even come after us for anything that we would use, but it's more of one of those things where and our changes didn't get in there. And what were our changes again? We just added in our camera position. Like this, I'm pretty sure. So this was a default texture, 512 by 512. Okay. Then we have this crazy, ridiculous looking thing here. So the cool thing is I can actually go ahead and do something like this. We can set insane levels of stuff on it. Why do we have just this chunkiness around the edge? Well, that's just a... We're not even getting the texture in there, are we? Alright, well I will be right back. It's all messed up, but it's you know, an effect like that would be more of a lens flare or a flare across, you know, like you've seen in some space, you know, sci-fi things, they'll have the light go, you know, out to the side. Kind of like, I think, what is it? You know, like in Interstellar, they've got the, you know, the light getting all straight off of there, like that. Stuff like that. Anyway, I'll be right back and we'll continue working. Alright. Well, and this is just more graphic stuff that I am working on just to be better, you know, just get good at life. So what I want to do is and the thing is, this is clamping to 0 and 1 or whatever. Basically, it's going to be the sampling stuff that's screwing it up. Like, I want to mask it let's see. Yeah, so it's clamping texture, produced smeared edges. Here's what it looks like. So you need to have an alpha channel for both reveal and hidden textures. So I need to have this thing here clamp on the edges, and this looks wrong. Like, is that really the bottom of the texture? Yeah, the bottom of the texture is just screwed up. I saved this all wrong. Like, that's my texture. I screwed it all up. Alright, let's just start over with this texture. Let's just do it like this. Gosh, how do you just blend the frickin' edges of something in Paint.net? I like how all these Like I'm trying to find how to get this feather plugin for this thing, and it's like download the update, and it just goes to nowhere. Alright, so let's go ahead and download a whole bunch of stuff live and run it on my computer and then get a horrible virus. What could possibly go wrong? And it's really this texture sucks, so that's what's wrong here. So now there's a whole bunch of shit I can do, and I don't know how to use any of them. Feather selection. Alright, so if I select everything, and I do feather select, maybe I need to do a harder feather selection thing. This is true. I don't know how to use any of this crap. Nothing's different. Nothing's different. We'll see how this is. Yeah, that's true. I'll eventually know exactly what to say. I'll be like, give me exactly what I should have. And this is also me just kind of learning a few more artist tool things, maybe in Paint.net, which I don't know. And I don't have Photoshop because I'm a chump. This is such a shitty program. It's gotta ask me twice every time. You're one of the few folks I see just dive into stuff. Yeah, that's what I have to do. I have no choice. So why in the hell do we have like some weird white around the edges? Do we literally have white around the edges? I mean, it sure as heck looks like we got white around the edges, doesn't it? Let's open up another texture real quick. No, it's just this edge. Like, that's the sort of stuff that I hate, is when they throw like a little border on it, and you're like, is that a border or is that the texture? You know, like, don't do that to me. Alright, so why don't we just take this texture sample and plug it into the emissive? And that's what we're getting. I mean, come on. Frickin' the texture sample's broken and I can't fix it. No, we switched it back to default, which should just have a color now. And this thing is now totally screwed. See, this is the crap I'm talking about. Like, Unreal, please. And this guy is still complaining. It's supposed to be, should be linear color. Alright, so if we take a linear color, do you fix yourself? Alright, you do. So the question is, why is everything getting just totally screwed here? So this is like, it's just like undefined garbage or something. Okay, so I actually need to multiply the color by the alpha channel in order for it to come out properly to mask itself. Alright. So what we want to do is we want, like if we're going to have a moon or something, like this multiply needs to go on top of it. This is not an add here, it's a multiply. Alright, well, in order to actually put these things on here properly, I need to have the light stuff needs to be applied after everything else. So what I need to do is the moon is a separate thing from the light from the moon, is what it has to be. So I need a moon thing here, which has to go around all of that crap. So you drag up here, and what we want to do is the moon has to come on top of the background, right? So what kind of combination needs to happen there? I guess we need to, if we want the moon to draw directly on top of this thing, then what we're going to need to do is basically needs to be an either or. Is there a... we're going to need to add together this, and we're going to need to mask or basically, yeah, this will multiply the alpha out of that, but we also need to... Is there a mask? Is there a bit mask? No. Basically, it's 1.0 f minus this thing, and then we want to multiply. And that is not applying to the world. So that's our background properly going there, but oh, this needs to be a multiply. That's pretty funny. The moon lights up the sky. We don't know how it does it, but it does it. And that's more what we're looking for. And now I can ramp up the brightness. Alright, so that's, I can ramp up the brightness of a thing here, and let's see. This is ramping up the brightness of only the moon, but if I want to replace that, I can do this. So I can just ramp up the brightness of everything, like that if I want. Which is not necessarily what we want. Like we just want it to light up itself, not anything else. We want it to, but we do want it to have like a halo or something along those lines. Like, we want it to have a halo, but we don't want it to affect stuff in the background. Because if we've got this sort of thing, right? Like, what is it actually going to be? You know, what is the light going to be blooming, right? It's going to be, like, the stars shouldn't get the extra brightness, but the clouds in the sky should get the extra brightness, so we need something in the foreground around this moon, which is going to capture the bloom from the moon. And that's what we have to actually mess with in order to get this sort of effect. I wonder if I, like, amped up the contrast on this thing, if I could do something pretty cool with it. This material broke again? So I guess what I need to do is do, like, some sort of bloom effect on it if I wanted it to really shine. Alright, well, we're slowly, you know, messing around with stuff. What I'd like to do is parameterize the location of the moon real quick. and turn that into something that we can change. So I'm gonna open up their test sky here, and they have the light direction. Alright, so we have the light direction. Let's just call it light direction. And inside of our test skybox, when we create we have our construction script. If we go to their sky sphere, they create this sky material. Jeez. Alright, so they've got all sorts of stuff here which we want to do. So why don't we just start with the basics. So inside of our construction script, we are going to want to get the source material. The material is, like, we're going to call get on the sky material. I guess what we should do is add a variable in here, which is going to be the sky material. Well, we're going to make this one. Variable is public, so it's going to be a material instant, just a material reference. Kind of like this. So we'll get our private sky material and all that. So what is this? Sky sphere mesh doesn't exist? Sky sphere mesh is supposed to be this thing. So let's just call this the sky sphere. Alright, so refresh material. We're not going to want the directional light actor, we're going to want the just directional light vector. So we want a variable, and we want it to be a vector, and we're going to expose it publicly, and we're going to call this light direction. And let's see, if we compile it, we want this to be -100. And these are right here, so we're going to grab the sky material and we're going to set the vector parameter right here. We're going to set light direction, but we called it light direction with a capital and all that sort of stuff. and this is going to be the private sky material. So we're gonna go ahead and chop that off. This is the target. This is material instance dynamic. So this should set our light direction when we construct this thing. And setting it to, like inside of our material, this thing is set to -100. While at this one, light direction is set to -100. Sky material is not set though, so that could be a problem. So we need to call this test sky material.